What is up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Obviously, as always, we start off with a little bit of feedback on last night's match, the Milan derby in the Champions League semi-final between Inter Milan and AC Milan at the San Siro. The timestamps are down below, so if you'd like to skip through this bit of the video, you are more than welcome to do so. Inter surprised me yesterday. I did expect Milan to put up much more of a fight because Rafael Leao would be playing. But Inter really surprised me. They silenced Leao. It was as if, and I know one of the commentators said this, when AC Milan played against Napoli and they beat Napoli with such a heavy scoreline, it was because Napoli went out and they just disregarded the fact that Rafael Leao was on the pitch, and he punished them thoroughly. Inter did the opposite. Inter paid special attention to Rafael Leao. In fact, they paid special attention to their entire left wing. Between Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao, they didn't really do much. But that was where you saw opportunities for players like Brahim Diaz. There was a period very, very early on where the ball was played in the box and it bounced around a little, and Onana was taken out of the game completely. And had his defenders not been there to protect him, Inter would have conceded there. But Inter did a decent job of just shutting Milan out. And I think when I saw Dzeko starting as well, I was just like, okay, it looks like Inzaghi is taking a bit of a more conservative approach here, because I mean, we all know Lukaku's on fantastic form right now. But perhaps Inzaghi's entire strategy here was to just sort of draw AC Milan out, tire the defenders out, and then let his big boys come on and finish things off. And I mean, Lukaku came on, and within minutes, Inter were 1-0 ahead. It was a fantastic piece of pulled-up play. That little partnership between Romelu Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez continues to pay out dividends for Inter Milan, and I really hope that Lukaku is able to continue at Inter. I hope that somehow, for that little loan deal that they've got sorted out for him, there is an option to buy from Chelsea, and I hope that Inter exercise it, because Lukaku seems like the perfect kind of player for Inter Milan. This partnership between him and Martinez is something that I would love to see continue for as long as possible. And I mean, to have it for just a few seasons, and then have Lukaku go back to Chelsea, have him flop there, and then come back on loan is just a tragedy. We've seen a lot of players in the past make these decisions to leave a club where they're doing so well. You think Coutinho at Liverpool, you think Neymar at Barcelona, and then wherever they go to, they just sort of don't work out. And I really hope Lukaku doesn't continue that trend, because he is such a talented striker. And like I said, you know, this dynamic between him and Lautaro Martinez is just fantastic. Now, with Martinez, I did say that he was going to be a danger man for Inter, and obviously he got the goal, Lukaku got the assist. It was fairly predictable. I did expect the match to end as a draw. I did think it would be slightly too tight. I thought it would be a draw with goals. So I expected between Brahim Diaz, Olivier Giroud, or Rafael Leao, I expected somebody to hit the back of the net for AC Milan. But I think something that I said that was obvious last night as well was that the goalkeepers were so crucial. Inter could have won 3-0, maybe 4-0 easily if it wasn't for Mike Maignan. The same could be said for AC Milan. Milan could have turned that around if it wasn't for Onana on the line. The keepers really went out there and they earned their stripes, and it was really a fantastic performance from both keepers. Even though AC Milan were knocked out, I think if anybody can hold their head up high in that performance, it was Maignan. And then Tonali really came up. He stepped up. He came to the forefront when Milan needed him. Giroud was kind of silenced. Leao was silenced. Brahim Diaz as well he was man-marked, so he didn't have the space to move around as he would have liked. And that gave Tonali the opportunity to sort of get more chances in on goal. And he tried to take them, and he did a decent job of dictating play from midfield and controlling things. It is unfortunate that AC Milan is now out of the Champions League, but it is fantastic that Inter's in the final. The last time they were in a final in 2010, they went out and they won it. And either Man City or Real Madrid wait in the final for them in Istanbul, and Again, congratulations to Inter Milan on a well-deserved victory. So we kick off our team analysis with Manchester City, obviously being the home side. They get that privilege today. Um, City are currently on a streak of 4 wins and a single draw in their last 5 matches. That one draw came against Real Madrid in the first leg last week at the Santiago Bernabeu. Their last match ended as a 3-0 win for the citizens against Everton at Goodison Park. Ilkay Gundogan was simply fantastic on the day. He was at the heart of all things good for Manchester City. In the 37th minute, the German midfielder opened the scoring with what I would say is probably one of the weirdest goals I've ever seen in my life. Riyad Mahrez crosses the ball in from the right wing. Gundogan controls it with his thigh, and that bit of control keeps the ball close enough to his body so that he can still lean back and sort of like poke it backwards behind him into the back of the net past the keeper. And it's a weird one because with the positioning of his body, he's kind of blocking the ball off from the keeper, so the keeper can't even see what the hell is going on in front of him. And it's still close enough to his body so that if any of the defenders try to make a move for the ball, they run the risk of pushing Gundogan down and then giving away a penalty. So everybody just chooses to back off instead and just hopes that he can't really do anything with the ball. And unfortunately for them, he manages to score a weird but a completely legitimate goal. 1-0 to the citizens. Shortly thereafter, in the 39th minute, City scored a more conventional goal. Gundogan again, this time crossing the ball, and Erling Haaland meets it with his head and puts the ball past the keeper, a textbook header, but a great assist from the German again. And then in the 51st minute, the German midfielder completed his brace from a free kick. The Evertonians had given away a free kick on the edge of their box, and Gundogan stepped up and managed to curl the ball enough past the keeper but over the wall, enough power, enough placement, and it was a fantastic goal. I think Pep Guardiola had it in the back of his mind that he would be playing this very, very tough fixture tonight, but he still needed to rest players who performed really, really well last week. So the likes of Jack Grealish and Bernardo Silva started the match on the bench, and came on later on kind of like a cameo appearance, while Kevin De Bruyne didn't feature at all. And I think the Belgian midfielder really deserved that rest with his performance against Real Madrid last week. City stuck to their weird 3-2-4-1 last week against Real Madrid, but they switched back to their 4-2-3-1 formation this weekend. I fully expect Guardiola to go back to his back three tonight in the Champions League, simply because I think the 4-2-3-1 sort of allows Man City to go forward more often, and without less concern for counterattacks, whereas you look at Real Madrid and they're built for the counterattack, while City are built for possession. So he'll be looking to sort of make his back line a little more solid by playing with 3 centre backs as opposed to 2. But then I'm just sure that Kyle Walker and Jack Grealish are going to be doing a ton of running. So expect them to be all over the show. Players I think that we need to watch for Man City tonight. Obviously Kevin De Bruyne, I mean he's leading the assists as it stands for Manchester City. And I mean rightly so, De Bruyne's got not just an eye for goal, but an eye for opportunity. He really knows how to put players in when he needs to. And he's so good at it. He's really flourished under Guardiola. He's a typical Guardiola player. And I expect De Bruyne to do something special tonight again. Gundogan, obviously the man on form right now for Manchester City. All eyes are on him. His brace this weekend, plus that assist, and I think it was a brace the weekend before that as well. That could have been a hat-trick. Gundogan provides a lot in midfield. His finishing is not really something that he's known for. He's more a solid midfielder who looks to break down play and just orchestrate things from out deep. But I mean, he's proven now that he can finish. from open play and from dead ball opportunities. So I think Madrid will probably have to pay a little bit of special attention to Ilkay Gundogan as well. And then, of course, Erling Haaland leading the scoring charts for Manchester City in the Champions League and in the Champions League as a whole with 12 goals. Erling Haaland is on the form of his life right now. He's fit like a glove at Manchester City, which is weird because he's not really a Pep Guardiola kind of player per se. Now, last week, Haaland didn't really do much because Rudiger had him sorted quite well. I think Rudiger had a more aggressive man-marking kind of style when dealing with Haaland, and it worked fantastically. But I think Haaland is still definitely somebody to watch. Even if he doesn't score, just his presence there, that danger factor is enough to put defenders on edge, to put the opposition teams on high alert. And I expect Haaland to be very, very integral tonight as well. And now for the away side, Real Madrid, aka Los Blancos. Real Madrid's last 5 is far more inconsistent than Man City's. 3 wins, a loss, and a draw. The draw obviously being in the reverse fixture last week. Thankfully, Madrid are already champions of something this season. They were crowned Copa del Rey victors a few weeks back. But I think crucially, they've acknowledged that they were out of La Liga race. And Barcelona were crowned La Liga champions this weekend. So I think that was the right decision to take. And I think Ancelotti acknowledged it and identified it quite early on, based on the squads that he was putting out and the matches that he was placing more emphasis on. And obviously this one being one of them. This weekend, Madrid lined up against Getafe at the Bernabeu and came out 1-0 victors. In the 70th minute, Marcos Alonso got a goal. Madrid attacked from the right wing. The ball was passed to Alonso fairly out wide, and he sort of ran across and finished from out of the box with his left foot. A curling shot around the keeper into the bottom of the net. A fantastic finish. Now, it's obvious, like I said, that Ancelotti identified this match as not really being that important, because if you look at the players that he left out, we have players like Modric and Kroos and Vinicius Jr., who were all left on the bench and made cameos later on in the match. But the likes of Antonio Rudiger, Rodrigo and Karim Benzema didn't even travel at all, and they didn't feature at all. I think Rudiger was on the bench, but he just didn't come on. But I don't remember seeing Rodrigo and Benzema on the team lists. And that just goes to show where Real Madrid's priorities lie right now. It's obvious that the Champions League is what Real Madrid want. It's where their attention and their focus has been for the last few seasons. And it's become their trophy. It's become their tournament. The Real Madrid that lines up on these weekday nights after the Champions League anthem is playing is a completely different animal from the one that lines up on weekends in La Liga. They are so much more clinical, they are so much more direct, and they are so much more solid. With their 4-3-3 formation, they make perfect use of all of that pace and dribbling ability of their fantastic wingers, and it allows them to counter-attack so quickly and with so much efficiency that more often than not, the opposition don't even realize that they're being laid siege to until the ball is at the back of their net. So I think when it comes to Real Madrid, the players you have to be watching are obviously that Brazilian duo of Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. Now, as we said, Haaland is leading the goal scoring charts. Vinicius Jr. I think is 3rd with 7 goals, while Rodrigo I think is 6th with 5 goals. But it's also crucial to note that Vinicius Jr. is also on the assist charts. I think he's got 4 assists, 5 assists. Yeah, I think it's 5 assists, because he was joined with Di Marco from Inter. And it's looking really, really good for Real Madrid. Going forward, they are so lethal. And it shows. Like I said, Rodrigo's a player to watch as well. He's so quick, he's so dynamic. Between Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr., you will focus on one and the other one will whack you. It sort of reminds me of the Bale, Benzema, Cristiano Ronaldo days of old, where if you put too much focus on one, the other one will punish you. And that's exactly what happens. Is Real Madrid have width, they have pace, they have trickery, and these two players are really enjoying their football right now. in almost all of the posts I've seen from Real Madrid on their Instagram and on all of their social media pages, these two are always together. They have this kind of best friend dynamic going. And when you have that kind of chemistry and that kind of relationship with a teammate, it just comes naturally. You just understand one another. You want to play better for one another. And I think Real Madrid really have some sort of gem on their hands right now. And I hope they can make full use of it. Another player that I think is crucial to watch for Real Madrid is obviously Antonio Rudiger. Rudiger did a fantastic job of keeping Erling Haaland in his back pocket last week. Haaland was unable to find the back of the net. He didn't really get that many chances. And I think that was the crucial thing, is that Rudiger managed to keep Haaland away from all of the action and just ensure that Haaland was kept as far away from the goalpost as possible. And he'd be expected to do that again. That's probably why Ancelotti decided to rest Rudiger this weekend, because he knows that Rudiger's going to have a tough time against Haaland. And he'll be expected to man-mark him aggressively, but intelligently. Exactly as he did last week, because usually if you ask a player to do that with a deadly striker, the player ends up getting sent off or giving away a penalty or a stupid free kick, but Rudiger didn't do any of that. But I do think that what's going to happen is Real Madrid are going to attack a lot on the counter. City are going to pressure, and Madrid are going to look to get Vinicius Jr. and to get Rodrigo into these positive ranges, and then they're looking to Benzema to finish. But I think the danger men are definitely those wingers. Okay, on to the verdict. Now, the last time Man City and Real Madrid clashed, it was last week, obviously at the Bernabeu. It ended in a 1-1 draw. In the 36th minute, Vinicius Jr. opened the scoring. Despite being kind of crowded out, he used his pace and just drove the foot home, or drove the ball home from long range, and found the back of the net. And then it looked like, I mean, before then, Man City looked so dominant, and then they looked deflated afterwards. And then the halftime break came along, and City needed to regroup, and they did regroup. In the 67th minute, Kevin De Bruyne managed to find an equalizer for them. The ball was cut back on the edge of the opposition box, and De Bruyne just drove it home into the bottom corner. So the two sides kind of cancelled each other out, and it was a weird one because I did think that City would come out on top there. The Etihad, though, is a completely different ball game. Do I think Real Madrid can get a win away from home? I don't. Honestly, I don't. At least not from open play. I think if it goes to penalties, then yes, Real Madrid take this one. But what are the odds of it going to penalties, right? Actually, really good now that I think about it. Holy shit, I could actually just say it's penalties. But no, I think this one gets decided in open play. At least in extra time. I think City win this one. I think it's one of the midfielders who score. Gundogan, De Bruyne. I think based on how Rudiger just had him handled last week, I don't see Haaland escaping and making a difference the way everybody expects him to. I think there's a lot of pressure on him. I think he does have the potential to do it, don't get me wrong. But I don't think he will, not tonight at least. I'm going to give this one to Man City. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm wearing the Man City shirt. Of course I'm going to give it to Man City. But I'd like to see a Man City and Inter Milan final. So I'm going to go with Man City here. Also, just based on the fact that City have so much confidence coming into this. I mean, you look at the previous matches, Real Madrid just edging out Getafe, while City are just destroying teams left, right, and center because they can. I think it's going to be a good game. I think City are going to keep the ball, move it around, typical Pep Guardiola things. And Madrid are just going to look to, when they have the ball, make it count. I think something also that's crucial is the fact that Guardiola said that he's not going to overthink things tonight. Maybe he did think over things, or did overthink things in the first leg, because if you look at the first leg, Madrid made some changes towards the end of the match, but Guardiola stayed with the same 11. I don't remember him making any substitutions. And I think that was something that was strange to me, but I think that's why he felt he didn't want to overthink things, because he just felt like, okay, we have Madrid handled right now. Let's just keep the draw, and take it home to the Etihad, where we have home ground advantage. So instead of putting on a more attacking player, that personally I felt Mahrez would have been perfect. But instead of putting on Mahrez, he just decided to stick with what he had. I think if Mahrez comes off and Mahrez plays today, he gets a winner. I think Mahrez is definitely somebody to watch. But I don't think he's gonna get a shout in today. I think City will have it handled before they start making substitutions. But yeah, I expect the goal to come from either De Bruyne, a Gundogan, or weird one, Jack Grealish. I think Grealish has the potential here as well, and he's really flourished as well. So I think City close this one out. I'm gonna go with 1-0, 2-1 on aggregate, or maybe 2-1. But whatever it is, a single goal decides this one. But I think Man City go through to the Champions League final in Istanbul. Thank you again for watching today. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all of the good stuff. I'm really excited for tonight's match. If you are seeing this video early, maybe drop your thoughts down below. Who do you think is going to win? And yeah, let's meet up again really soon for another great prediction, another great preview, and for some great football.